Have you noticed that when you start to change, really change, people around you get uncomfortable? They rarely say it outright. Instead, they hide it behind jokes, friendly advice, or an awkward silence whenever the talk turns serious. Deep down, it's simple. Your growth pushes on their comfort zone. Most people don't want to face their own complacency. You might be feeling this right now. You're thinking differently, acting differently, and questioning things you used to accept without hesitation. So now you feel alone, misunderstood, even judged. No one warns you about this, but Nietzsche understood it perfectly. This sense of isolation is the cost of building a strong mind. Not just any strength, but a strength so real and solid it makes others uneasy. It scares them. Without a single word, your growth shows the weakness in people who still live on autopilot. Why? Because a truly powerful mind threatens the group's comfort. Nietzsche spelled it out. The moment you start thinking for yourself, setting your own values and dropping the easy truths everyone accepts, you become a problem. A problem for the system, for others, and for the old version of you. This video is a challenge. It's not for people who want to stay comfortable or chase quick fixes. It's for you, the one who's tired of being trapped by your own insecurities, who feels a split coming from inside, and who's ready to build something no one can break, a mind no one can twist, a mind that scares people because it will not bend. If you're ready for that road, lonely, hard, but utterly life-changing, stay tuned. What Nietzsche can teach you will confront you, but it can also set you free. After this, you'll never think the same way again. Nietzsche wasn't just a philosopher. He was like a surgeon for the human soul. He had the nerve to stare into the abyss of existence and then jump right in. That same abyss, that inner chaos most people run from, is where he found real strength. For Nietzsche, transformation doesn't happen in peace, comfort, or stability. It happens in pain, in the fall, in the mess. He put it bluntly, you need to have a chaos inside you to give birth to a dancing star. That's not flowery language. It's a psychological fact. If you want an unshakable mind, forget the childish idea that it comes from comfort, quick motivation, or fluffy affirmations. Real strength is born when you face suffering head-on, when you stop asking life to be easier and start asking yourself to be stronger. Think back. When did you grow the most? Was it when everything was smooth, or was it when you felt broken, lost, and had to rebuild yourself from the ground up? Nietzsche saw suffering not as a flaw in life, but as its driving force. He didn't romanticize pain. He treated it as a tool. Change how you relate to pain, failure, and loneliness, and you start forging something rare, an indomitable spirit. That's when the world starts to worry about you. Most people run from chaos. You'll learn to walk through it. While others beg for normal, you'll build greatness. But this shift demands a hard break from what you were taught about strength. Being strong isn't wearing a constant smile. It isn't fake emotional control. True strength is enduring the unbearable, then coming out on the other side, even more formidable. Nietzsche also warned, chaos alone isn't enough. Without an inner center, an anchor, chaos can destroy you. That brings us to the most crucial point in Nietzsche's thought, the moment he kills God and hands you the full weight of existential responsibility. When there's no sky left to look up to, the universe has to be born within you. If this message is clicking for you, tap subscribe and stay with us. Thanks for the support. When Nietzsche declared, "God is dead," he wasn't celebrating, he was sounding an alarm. He didn't slay a divine being, he shattered an illusion, the idea that a higher power is running everything, that somebody else has written out the plan, the meaning, the purpose. Once that illusion falls, every excuse vanishes, and that's terrifying. It used to feel safe to hand over responsibility, to believe all pain was part of a grand design that would make sense in the end. Nietzsche tears that comfort away. He looks you in the eye and says, "You're on your own. No ready-made meaning. You are now the creator." This is where the real work of building a powerful mind begins. Plenty of people collapse the moment they realize they stand alone in the middle of chaos. But if you can face that truth and create meaning from the inside out, you move from fear to freedom. No manual, no guarantees, no one left to blame. If you can face that and not crumble, you start forging an unshakable mind. With the death of God, Nietzsche throws you into radical freedom. You don't follow ready-made commandments, you create your own values. You don't just obey, you outgrow yourself. That's brutal autonomy, and it comes with weight. Everything now rests on you. No automatic forgiveness, no preset salvation. You either build yourself or you sink. Here's the secret. The freedom that scares you is also your greatest power. When you finally grasp that no one is coming to rescue you, something ignites inside. A fire that makes you stand up even while bleeding. You think for yourself, feel for yourself, act because you decide it's right. By breaking every existential crutch, Nietzsche clears the way for something bigger, a new kind of human who doesn't live by herd rules, who needs no approval and waits for no permission. A person who writes their own code of right and wrong, who keeps pushing past personal limits, who lives as a creator, not a follower. This kind of person unsettles the timid because it forces them to see their own smallness. Nietzsche gave this being a name, the Übermensch, the overman. If you want a mind no one can break, you need to grasp what it takes to become that figure, someone who stands above convention, guided only by their own will to power. Nietzsche never pictured slow, comfortable growth for humanity. He believed in sharp breaks, radical change, creative destruction. That's why he imagined the Übermensch, not a comic book hero, not someone with magic powers. The Übermensch is a person who has broken free from everything that chains the average soul. Guilt, blind obedience, herd morality, the need for other people's approval. This person doesn't ask permission to exist. They write their own inner laws and live by them, even if that pits them against the whole world. That's exactly why their mind becomes unbreakable. It isn't built on anyone else's expectations. It doesn't need a stamp of approval from anyone. It stands on its own, fueled by a deep will to power, the drive to shape the world in its own image. That's the key. The Übermensch doesn't adapt to life. He gives life its meaning. He doesn't chase comfort, he chases greatness. He never asks, "Is this allowed?" He asks, "Is this worthy of me?" That one shift changes everything. See yourself as a creator, not a servant, and the way you think, act, and feel turns inside out. But here's the catch. Becoming that person demands sacrifice. You'll have to silence the parts of you still begging for approval. You'll feel the sting of not fitting in. You'll carry the weight of building your identity from scratch. No guarantees, no pats on the back, no applause. Most people can't handle that. They quit before they start. They scurry back to the safety of ready-made beliefs and rules someone else created. The road to the Übermensch is lonely. Nietzsche knew it. He lived on the fringe, called crazy, shut out by the very world he tried to free. Yet in that isolation, he found his freedom. Understand this. The stronger your mind grows, the farther you drift from the crowd. The higher you rise, the more you unsettle others. Building the Übermensch is brutal and life-changing. It means tearing down everything that isn't truly yours, everything society pushed on you in exchange for obedience, and rebuilding from the ground up. That construction happens in silence, in solitude, far from the noise that rewards conformity and punishes authenticity. You'll have to learn to walk alone, and very few are ready for that. Are you? Here's what nobody tells you about real mental strength. The stronger you get, the lonelier you feel. Not because you choose isolation, but because the world no longer knows what to do with you. Nietzsche said the free spirit, the person who refuses easy truths and thinks for themselves, will drift away from the herd. That distance hurts, yet the pain is necessary. Growth needs space, and you can't grow while chained to other people's expectations. Most folks live in an invisible herd, where every thought is policed and every move is judged. They feel safe walking in a group and thinking like a group. Nietzsche rips you from that comfort and drops you into the desert. In that desert, there's no applause, no praise, no guide, only you, your doubts, your fears, your urge to quit. That's the real test. Most people run back, hide behind their masks, and pretend they don't feel or think differently. But if you want to become unbreakable, you have to stay. You must endure the silence that shows you who you really are. Nietzsche wrote, "The individual must always struggle not to be overwhelmed by the tribe. If you try, you will often feel lonely and sometimes afraid. But no price is too high to pay for possessing yourself." Possessing yourself is the rarest and most powerful achievement. When you truly own who you are, no one can control you, set your worth, or drag you down. But that self-possession carries the weight of loneliness. You'll lose people. You'll be misunderstood. Others will call you arrogant, distant, even cold. They'll try to pull you back into the mold. That's the cost of refusing to be tamed. The cost of not needing applause, of no longer living as a mirror for other people's needs. And here's the raw truth. If you can't stand loneliness, you're not ready for freedom. Real freedom always comes with letting go of emotional crutches, comfortable illusions, and use-only friendships. Nietzsche saw solitude as a privilege, a battlefield where your true self finally has room to come forward. This higher mind not only walks alone, it sees what others refuse to see. When you grow strong, average minds feel the shift, and they push back. The world doesn't chase those who fit in. It goes after those who dare to stand out. Nietzsche never lost sleep over tyrants or loud oppressors. What kept him up was something quieter and far more corrosive: collective mediocrity. That invisible pressure that keeps everyone small, punishes fresh ideas, and labels obedient conformity as virtue. Real tyranny, he said, doesn't always come from the top. It comes from the crowd beside you. People who want you to stay small so they don't have to grow. The moment your mind sharpens and your spirit stiffens, you unsettle them. Not because you're wrong, but because you're rare. You break molds, and society hates mold breakers. Nietzsche called the ethics of this crowd slave morality. Too weak to reach greatness, the many flip the values. Strength becomes arrogance. Ambition turns into selfishness. Independence is branded cold. It's driven less by compassion and more by resentment. The weak don't really want saving. They want the strong pulled down to their level. So when you start freeing yourself, they push back, sometimes with open criticism, more often with sideways looks, silence, or thinly veiled jokes that say, "Come back, you're making us feel small." Most people live under that weight: fear, guilt, and obedience. Anyone who questions it becomes a threat. Mediocrity won't fight you head-on. It fights with numbers, with consensus, with endless repetition. It makes you wonder if you're wrong just for standing apart. Shame, exclusion, gossip. Every social tool is used to make you bow your head. Many people cave. They can't stand being weird, difficult, or arrogant. But Nietzsche would call you necessary. Your refusal to blend in is the spark that lets something new be born. Free thinking and autonomous living are acts of war against herd-level living. And every act of war needs preparation. The cost is high. You'll lose shallow friendships. You'll pass up chances that demand you play small. You'll never again be satisfied with crumbs. But the payoff is priceless. Integrity. You're the same person in public and private. Clarity. You see where others drift through life half awake. Presence. Your silence can speak louder than a crowd's noise. This strength isn't handed out in self-help slogans. It's carved out in lonely nights, tough choices, and the inner fight between who you were and who you're becoming. The truly strong aren't those who won. They're the ones who keep fighting, even when they could quit. Nietzsche didn't aim to collect followers. He wanted to shake people awake, to make you stop crawling for approval, stop begging for meaning, and start building it yourself. He wanted you to become dangerous in the rarest way. Your very existence forces others to face what they're avoiding. So take a step right now. Speak a truth you've been hiding. Voice an opinion you've been scared to share. Write a thought that makes you feel alone, yet feels like the real you. Claim your voice and show you won't bend. If these words stirred something inside you, don't stop here. Keep going. You're not truly alone. You're simply ahead. And while that can be frightening, it's also the first taste of real freedom.